From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Gemma Gaudette. This is Idaho Matters. 5 years ago, the COVID pandemic hit, and musicians around the world had to stop touring and sit at home, wondering if they would ever play a live concert before audiences again. And Idaho's own Curtis Stigers had a new album out, and he was ready to go on the road when he ended up literally stuck in his kitchen with his 4 dogs. So he sat down and he started writing new songs, and he created a weekly internet live stream show and called it Songs from My Kitchen. He was playing solo and unplugged, and he called the year and a half he spent isolated and alone as one of the most creative periods of his life. And he has a new album out, born out of the pandemic, with songs of love and loss. In fact, discovering his biological father, even a song about the old Idaho Penitentiary, which is called Songs from My Kitchen, Volume 1. So we asked him to drop by the studio today and talk about the new album and the inspiration behind it. And Curtis is joining us live in studio. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice intro. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, so take us back 5 years ago. I mean, sometimes it seems like yesterday, but It was 5 years ago. When I say you were literally stuck in your kitchen in Boise, you were.
I was indeed. We actually started the pandemic with 3 dogs, by the way.
Oh, and ended up with...
We had an accident.
It happens. It happens, right? You're stuck at home.
A pandemic poodle.
Yep.
That is, in fact, the name of my record company. I've released this album on my own for the very first time. I've been on Arista and Columbia and Universal, and I decided to stop giving my money to other people. And so my album is on Pandemic Poodle Productions because Stanley, our Bernie Doodle, showed up sort of accidentally.
I love that name. Okay, so you were supposed to be on the road touring, right? When the pandemic hit?
It was going to be such a good year of touring. I was going to catch up on so many bills, and then boom, done, over. It was a year and a half of not making any money.
Okay, so let's talk about this in all seriousness, because I mean, this is how most musicians make your money. You go out on the road, you perform.
Yeah.
So when you realized, oh my gosh, this isn't like just a stopping point for a couple of weeks, everything is shutting down.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Well, I went to the liquor store.
Who didn't? Who didn't?
I learned how to make a really good old fashioned during the pandemic, and in fact, we started. Bill Coffey and I, the singer-songwriter that lives here in town, one of the greatest songwriters I know, actually, in the world. He happens to live across the street from me. We started a group called the Old Fashioned Club, and he would come over and sit way across the patio from me, and we would make our own old fashions and just chit-chat. And I have recorded on this new album Bill's song, Old Fashioned.
Oh, my goodness.
It all comes around. Okay,
I have to tell you, I, too, was making old fashions during the pandemic. Yeah. One of these days, we might have to make one for each other.
Yeah, like you could at least be like a temporary member of the Old Fashioned Club.
Okay, great, perfect.
There's a lot that goes into being.
Well, all I can do is make the old fashioned. I can't sing. I can't play an instrument, so I'm out. So in there, then here you are, no touring, wondering where the money's going to come in, right?
Yeah.
So what happens?
I just started. I leaned into it. I played my guitar all day long. I was writing songs both on my own and with people over the internet. One of the songs on the record is a song I wrote with a Boise singer-songwriter named James Coberly Smith. We did that completely remotely, never saw each other the whole experience of writing the song. And it takes me a long time to write songs, so it would have been a lot of FaceTime. And first of all, I tried, what's it called? I tried a thing where you could join a club. I can't remember the name of the service. Everyone does it now. But basically, if you pay a certain amount every month, $5 a month, or $10 a month, you get content.
Oh, okay.
I hate that word. What is that company
a content
called?
creator.
It's going to come to me. Anyway, and there were a certain number of people who joined, but I was making all this really cool content, and no one, only a certain group was seeing it. So I decided, all right, I'm going to do this for free. I'm going to do it on the internet. And so I just started doing a weekly live show on Facebook and Instagram. And for an hour every Wednesday, beginning at, well, originally it was at noon, which would be, 7 in London and 8 in Berlin, because a lot of my fans are overseas. But because it was at noon, I felt guilty about having just that little shot of rye whiskey before I did the show. So I moved it to 1 p.m. so that it wouldn't
5 o'clock somewhere.
I wouldn't be morning drinking, at least. That's my joke anyway. But it worked better an hour later. And I would bring all my stuff up from the basement, my microphones, my cameras. Jody, my wife, Jody Peterson Stigers, the executive director of Interfaith Sanctuary Homeless Shelter, was out in the world every day saving lives, because she had to open not one new shelter, but 2 new shelters in order for the homeless to be separated from each, to be, what was the word? Distanced
from each other. Yeah.
And so she was out doing that while I was at home hanging out with the dogs. And so I could get away with bringing everything up into the kitchen. And I did a show once a week for an hour. I talked to and sang to people in Hungary and Russia and England and Los Angeles.
So talk to us about the show itself then. I mean, because here you started, probably with not a lot of expectation, right? With people listening. But then when they do start listening, does it become interactive as well, where they can ask you, play this song, or they want to know things, or how did it evolve?
I have a producer who I worked with. She was out in Minneapolis, and she would. I asked her not to show me the comments while I was singing.
Oh yeah, that'd be rough.
But if there was something, if there tended to be a good question, or if a bunch of people were asking the same question, she would message me on my phone. She would send me a
text. Like my show. That's what happens with my producers.
Just text each other. It's amazing how high the quality of the equipment can be, and still you're texting.
And you're texting live, by the way.
But she would say, "Oh, they're asking about this, or they want this song," and then so I could comment on that. But I tended to sort of want to make it like a real show, live show for the most part, where they don't talk back. I'm better when people aren't throwing me off my game. So, but I did it for over a year. Originally, when the pandemic started, I didn't want to do it because I saw so many of my friends and my favorite artists doing them, and at first the technical quality wasn't there, so they tended to look bad and sound bad, and I thought, well, I don't want to do that. So that's why I waited for 6 months or so before I thought, well, okay, I'm jumping in, and I had such a great time. First of all, I learned to play guitar a lot better than I ever did. I had to accompany myself. I couldn't just rely on a great piano player behind me. So that was really wonderful. And I learned songs I hadn't played in years, some songs I'd really never played by myself, never played on guitar, that were songs I'd written because I'm a singer and a saxophone player to begin with. So that was, I could go on and on about it. The other thing I learned to do, I was really proud of the fact I taught myself to edit video.
And, that's not easy to learn to do, too.
And I did it on, the kind of bonehead Apple.
That's all right.
The Mac version, Mac Movies or whatever. But I can just throw together a video now. It makes me so happy. And I made some silly movies and music videos with my dogs. A lot of dog stuff.
Yeah.
I learned how to cut my own hair. I haven't been to a barber since 2020.
Are you serious?
I just cut it myself. It's kind of getting long and shaggy now, but I'm pretty good at it.
That's really amazing.
There's a video online of me learning how to cut my hair. So I did that sort of a thing.
You know what? We all did things to get through.
You got to do what you got to do.
Okay. And so one of the things here was, we had mentioned, you literally, when the pandemic hit, had just released a new album.
Yes.
Well,
I wouldn't recommend that, by the way.
Okay.
Don't release an album the first week of an international pandemic.
That is good advice.
It's good business advice.
Solid advice. But through this, you ended up putting a whole other album together. And as I mentioned, it's called Songs from My Kitchen, Volume 1. Yeah. So take us through that, and then you're going to play for us the first song on that album.
Yes. Well, the songs come from a lot of different places. Some of them I wrote during the pandemic. Some of them I rediscovered, songs that I'd written years before. There's a song on this that I'd forgotten I wrote. Don't Look at Me That Way is a song I wrote with a wonderful Irish singer-songwriter named Brian Kennedy. And we wrote that back in about 2000, and I'd forgotten about it. I just had forgotten because he recorded it. I didn't record it. And
20 years had gone by.
yeah, 20 years, and I'd raised a kid by then. And, actually, I think Ruby was either just ready to be born or had just been born when we wrote this song. So I can be forgiven for having forgotten the song. But I bumped into him at a festival in Ireland a couple of years ago, and he played that song. He said, "Remember that song?" I was like, "Yeah."
You nod your head and say yes.
But I fell in love with it. So I was like, wow, we wrote a good song, and I forgot about it. So that's one thing. Some of them are covers. There are 4 songs that I didn't write, including this one I'm about to play. How about I just use that as a segue and play a song?
Absolutely. So this is called Until You Were Gone. So tell us a little bit about the song before you play it.
It's a song by one of my favorite singer-songwriters. He's a young singer-songwriter named John Fulbright. He's from Oklahoma. He plays guitar and piano and sings beautifully, and he writes brilliant songs. I recorded one of his songs on my last record as well. But this song, I just think it was a perfect song to start the record with. And I also I thought it was sort of, it knocked my ego back a little bit, or allowed me to knock my ego back and put somebody else's song first before one of my songs. Why not? Anyway, this is about the one who got away. I didn't know I was in love with you till you were gone. I was just lonely, needed someone to share my nights with, to turn me on. I didn't know I was in love with you till you were gone. I am not heartless, I am not thoughtless, but I can be careless as a child. I can blow caution in a smoke ring and disappear into the wild. I didn't know about silence till you were gone. The last show's over, the curtain is drawn. I never saw so many sunsets, I never saw a single dawn. I didn't know I was in love with you till you were gone. Oh, oh, oh. The record you gave me, I put it on. The needle didn't jump this time, played the whole song. It sang about all, it cried about none. I didn't know I was in love with you till you were gone. I didn't know I was in love with you till you were gone. Till you were gone. I didn't know I was in love with you.
Okay, Curtis, so you said, and I'm quoting you, that being stuck at home allowed me the chance to challenge myself and to grow as an artist, unquote. Talk to us about that and how you were able to grow during that time.
It was a really, really fruitful time for me. I mean, it was obviously a terrifying, horrifying time. Mm-hmm. People were dying all over the world. People were sick. We didn't know if we could walk by somebody.
Oh, right.
And whether we were going to die or not. It was really strange, but there I was in a nice house in the north end of Boise with 3 and then 4 dogs, as I told you earlier. And I had all of these instruments and plenty of time. So it was the first time since it was the first time I hadn't had a job since I was 12.
Oh my goodness.
But it was the first time that I just had time to, since I got my first record deal. It was the first time I had time not on the road, not worrying about business, about booking, about this and that, just worrying about, hey, what song do I want to play right now? So it really, again, my guitar playing got better. My appreciation for songs I probably would never have covered. I mean, I was playing Radiohead songs and REM songs and Chuck Berry songs and Little Richard songs and all over the place as far as my interests. And again, the video editing was a lot of fun because I created little segments. It wasn't just me singing a bunch of songs for an hour. I would say, now here's the little segment on the show we like to call Found Objects. And I had edited together video of me singing with the Danish radio big band, but I put a title on it and put an intro onto it. And each section had its own theme song, Found objects, yeah. Kind of really stupid, funny stuff. And I made joke videos where it's like, here's a little segment I like to call it's an outside joke. And get it? It's not an inside joke.
It's an outside joke.
That's the joke. And that was that was actually the theme song, was me singing those words.
That's hilarious.
It was really dumb. And so I just did dad jokes and dentist jokes and musician jokes. I mean, like, what do you call a drummer in a 3-piece suit?
What?
The defendant. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I like it.
So I did a lot of things I'd never done before, and I felt my musicianship got better. I was also more easily able to sort of clearly look at who I am as an artist, because I have done so many things. I started out as a pop soul singer, on record anyway. But I grew up studying jazz, so eventually I started making jazz records, but then those jazz records had songs by singer-songwriters like Joe Jackson and Elvis Costello and Steve Earle. So I wanted to chase that a bit. And so this is kind of that. This is the singer-songwriter part of me. But when I play live now, I'm back on the road, obviously, now that the pandemic has passed. I'm back on the road, and I start the show by playing 3 or 4 songs on my guitar without the band. And then the band comes out and we play some jazz and we play some blues and we play some soul. And then we go have a glass of wine for the break and we come back and I play some more acoustic guitar and I play some more. So I'm doing everything that I like to do now in one show.
Yeah.
And this show, Songs from My Kitchen show, helped me. It kind of freed me up from, oh, but I'm a jazz singer. Oh, I should just play jazz and do this. Now I play Curtis. I just do me.
Well, and so talk a little bit about, you've mentioned this, that your guitar skills got better, right? Because
I mean, I'm still not a very good guitar player, but I can definitely get through a song, and I can play a few. I learned a few tricks anyway.
But in all seriousness, as you mentioned in the last segment, that you couldn't, there wasn't a band. I mean, so if you wanted this to work, if you actually wanted to play a show, you had to have an instrument and you had to play it. So what was it like to go through the process of kind of maybe, rediscovering the guitar, right? And learning a new skill? It
felt really good. And videoing myself doing it, making those videos that I edited, I could watch my hand, and that helped a little bit. Just looking at me as someone that I watch guitar players on YouTube and try to learn some of the things they do. So I was watching myself and thinking, oh yeah, I did, that was cool, I should do that again. That, not so much. Let's do better the next time. So that really helped. But mostly it was just me sitting around, hanging out with my dogs, playing guitar and singing songs. I mean, they ended up becoming stars of the show. The 4 dogs I've got a tiny, Jody, my wife and I mean, they're really her dogs. I just love them a lot.
I love that.
So we've got 2 little ones and 2 big ones, and they would just wander around the kitchen while I was playing, and they'd they'd make noise, they'd bark when the mailman came.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that was fun.
Well,
people
listen,
liked it.
Curtis, I had to, my kids were home for a little part of the pandemic, right?
I remember.
Remember?
I listened.
Everybody got to know my children in particular when they just, run into the studio in my house, or when they were fighting.
Or when they were fighting.
When
I
they were
remember that.
fighting.
What are you guys arguing
Yeah,
about?
please stop. I'm trying to do a show.
I'm in show business. I'm in news here.
Right. I mean, I need to stay focused. But, I have to say, looking back on that time, and you talked about, your dogs making appearances, my kids doing that, I think it humanized all of us in a way that we kind of forgot about.
Yeah. I agree. I get that.
Yeah. And so did that play into, even as you were writing songs, right? As you said, you play Curtis now.
Yeah.
And you stopped maybe even putting yourself in a box and finding your full maybe humanity in what you were doing.
Well, I mean, one of the songs that I wrote during the pandemic was about something that happened to me, well, now 13 years ago, but it had been quite a few years. I guess that would have been like 7 or 8 years ago. I finally got around to writing a song about meeting my birth father for the first time. My actual, my biological dad. I didn't know him until I was 46 years old. And during the pandemic, I had some time to sort of think back on, okay, so that this is, now we've known each other for this number of years, and he's my dad, but he's more my father and a friend, And so writing that song, I had time to kind of ruminate on it, and I actually, during the pandemic, I wrote this song, I recorded it, and then I made a video of my daughter Ruby and me walking around the North End with masks on while the song played, and it was a Father's Day present. But so I wrote a song. There's a song on the record about. Should I just play this?
Yes,
song?
I was thinking, play it for us.
Yeah. Well, it's. Let's see. Good to know you. Yeah, it's really good. Good to know you. I never thought I would get to know you. Walk the roads that you've been down. Good to know you. Nice to have you around. Lost and found. Yeah, you've been here all along. Good to know you. Good to sing this song. Get to know me. I do my best to let you in. I try to show you some of the places I have been. It's been a long time since I trusted someone new. But this careful heart of mine is opening up to you. Meet my daughter, yeah, we've got your crooked smile. This still feels awkward. It might take a little while, but it's good to know you. Show me your life. Tell me how you feel. I like your wife. She might be the best part of the deal. It's good to know you. Yeah, it's really good. Good to know you. I never thought I could. Good to know you.
Okay, Curtis, there's a lot also on the album about things about your childhood, right?
Yeah.
Talk about this next song, Burn It Down.
Well, Burn It Down. I mean, a lot of this record is about Idaho as well.
Right.
I mean, the whole album, everybody who played on it is an Idaho musician, Boise
Love that.
people. There's one piano track by Larry Goldings, an old friend of mine who lives in L.A. that I had him send up to me. But it's very Idaho-centric. And there's There's a song on the record called Burn It Down. I wrote it with my brother Jake Stigers many years ago, actually. We wrote this back in the 90s, but I never got around to recording it. I had the idea for the song, or at least the story of the song, in my head since I was in fourth grade.
Because every fourth grader learns Idaho State history.
Exactly.
And where do they take you?
They take you to the old Idaho Pen.
Yes, they do.
Boise.
And they scare you straight.
I have never done anything wrong because of that tour. And then I went back with the Boy Scouts as well, like the next year or the year after that. So I had that terrifying tour memorized.
I told you this before we went on the air when we were talking about this, but for folks that don't know, my kids, when they were little, were like, we want to go see that. And I'm like, all right, not a great parenting decision on my part that I took a 4-year-old to the old Idaho Pen on tour. I mean, it was during the day. I believe I have traumatized him for the rest of his life. So that's okay. I put like a quarter in for therapy when he gets older.
That's right. I mean, we all need a little bit of trauma in our life.
Right.
But it definitely stuck with me. I'm not sure if it traumatized me, although I have burned in my memory the
So yeah, talk to us about this. Like, I mean, literally this memory.
They take you through, these horrible tiny little cells. I mean, it's a terrifying place. It looks like a dungeon from from Dumas, from some sort of like the somewhere they would have thrown someone in the Three Musketeers.
Exactly.
And what I just realized, and I kid you not, this occurred to me only a month ago. The first tour that I took would have been in 1976.
My gosh, shortly after they closed it.
That was only 4 years after they closed the place. And
gosh.
I was horrified as a fourth grader when they told us that the mattresses for the horrible cots, the metal cots, were just stuffed with straw. They just stuffed them with grass, and that was their mattresses. They were feeding them cold water biscuits, which was basically flour and water, not cooked, just dried and eaten that way. So, I mean, I was immediately also an activist. I was a fourth grade prison reform activist right then. But my brother and I sat down to write a song decades later, and he played me this thing, and he kept singing, "Burn it down," and I said, "Do you remember when you were in fourth grade, you took that tour?" He said, "Oh yeah, it was terrifying."
Oh, so he remembered too.
He remembered it as well. I said, "I think that's what this song is," and so I came back to him with the lyric written and said, "This is what this song is about," and he said, "Yeah, that's it. That's great." So he basically wrote a lot of the music. And I wrote the lyrics and probably the music for the bridge, something like that. So,
okay, we got to hear this
all right,
song.
yeah. It's called "Burn It Down," and it's entirely fictional.
Okay,
I made up a character for the song, but it was true. I saw it. I have a daughter, but she don't know my name. Her mama left town when the gavel came down to spare her the shame. Burned every bridge I ever had in this town. Burn it down. Burn it down. They put me in here, I was 19 years old. Cadillac Joyride, 25 inside with no parole. Now I'm just waiting for the fire bell to sound. Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that sold my pride. Burn down the angry child that used to be me. Burn down the walls that stay alive. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that sold my pride. Burn down the angry child that used to be me. Burn down the walls that stay alive. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that sold my pride. Burn down the walls that stay alive. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that sold my pride. Burn down the walls that stay alive. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that stay alive. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that stay alive. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in here. Burn down the walls that keep me in biscuit and a bed made of straw. Living like an animal in the name of the law. I swear someday I'll bring this place to the ground, burn it down. Burn it down. I hear it started down in cell block 13. Burned down the dining hall and the guardhouse between. No turning back now, no peace where I'm bound. Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down.
So I love this. And when you said, I heard it started in cell block 13.
Yes.
And
Well, I made up the numbers because I couldn't remember exactly, but I recently went back to the Idaho Pen with the folks from Idaho Public Television. My friend Andy Lawless made a wonderful documentary about Idaho songs, and he used that in another one of my song about Gene Harris swinging down at 10th and Main. And when I was there, I was asking the guy who was giving me the tour, the guy who runs the whole basically museum there, and I missed the numbers, but it started in the dining hall.
Right.
And then it jumped to the church, to the chapel, which was sort of the meeting room for all of them, and it's so spooky to see that now because it's still there. It's just a burned out
the
shell.
remnants of that dining hall and everything when you go see that. It really is
wild. And it's still there. They've not gotten rid of it, and I think it's important that they don't. But so we jumped to the chapel, and then it did in fact go to the guards. I guess their place where they ate lunch or whatever. It was pretty interesting. So I got close on it. Some of like I said, it's fictional,
but it's inspired by true events.
Indeed.
So when you were recording the album, you said you didn't know where you were going until you got there.
Yeah.
I love that. But so kind of talk about that process before we go into break. I mean, because every morning you kind of started with a cup of tea and decided what was going to happen then?
I didn't make the record until well after the pandemic, because as soon as the pandemic was sort of over, we were all back out on the road.
We were.
Every musician was like, I got to get out there and make some money. And so for that, like a year and a half, I was just working and traveling and working and traveling. But there was a certain point where I had about a month off at home, and I thought, I need to make that record. I need to do that. So I just got up one morning with a cup of tea, and I went down a list. I'd made a long list of songs that I thought I might want to do, and I said, let me do that one today. And I called my friend Don Cunningham, who has Cunningham Audio just off of State Street, about a mile from my house. And I said, you got some time this afternoon? Yeah, I've got 3 hours. So I went over and I played that song until I got it the way I wanted it. And then I went home, and maybe 2 days later, I did the same thing with another song and another song and another song. And then I had 12 or 13 songs. And I thought, well, maybe now I should put some acoustic bass on. So I called Bernie Riley, wonderful multi-instrumentalist and singer and songwriter. He came with his acoustic bass, and he played bass on most of the songs on the record. Then I added electric guitar. I called Shaky Dave Mannion, one of the greatest guitar players I've ever known. That just happens to be right here in Boise. And he played a lot of the electric guitar. Actually, all of the electric guitar is Shaky Dave. And then I even brought in a college BSU professor. Andrew Cortens is the head of he's the chair of the philosophy department of Boise State, and he's also a fantastic piano player.
I love this
organist. He's from Frem 4. That's where you would know.
Okay.
And Jens Karas is someone else I brought in to create he created sort of soundscapes. If you listen to the album version of that song, Burn It Down, there's some really spooky sounding stuff. It sounds like a horror movie, and that's Jen's. He created some really cool stuff. Catherine Merrick, who is she was Kathy Crooks when I met her. We played in the band The B-Sides back in high school. When I was 16 years old, I met Catherine, and now Catherine is one of the co-owners of the Record Exchange, the world's greatest record store in downtown Boise, and she sang all the vocal harmonies on the record. So I think I got everybody in there. I sure hope so.
Well,
and Casey Miller played much of the percussion on the record. So there we go.
Okay, you have been quite busy lately. You just got back from touring in Germany.
Yes, I have a new album out. I'm out there working, selling those albums. And I did a 2-week tour of Germany, including 2 really big national TV shows, which this record has been getting a lot more attention than my most recent records. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the timing. Maybe that it is a change of pace for me musically, but it's getting good reviews, and I'm getting on TV shows, which I haven't done in quite a while and in years. So I did that and then came home. I've been home for a few weeks. I'm off to the UK very soon. I'm doing most of May in UK, but I come home in the middle of that, and then I come back to Boise. I'm going to play Seattle, and I'm going to play at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival Amphitheater. I've done that the last few years. I've played. First year I just played 1, but then we added another one, so I'm doing 2 again this year. 1 on June 23rd. And 1 on September 22nd. And the June 23rd one is kind of an official release concert for this album. It'll have all the guys that played on the record with me, or most of them anyway. And I'm really excited about that. I mean, there's no better place to play a concert or, hopefully to hear a concert than that, the amphitheater. It's just heaven.
So I wanted to ask you, what is it like here, as you said, you just got back from Germany, you're going to the UK, you're going to play in Seattle. And then you come home and you play to a local audience. Is it different at all?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, especially with my wife sitting right there in the middle. And my daughter's usually there, and so many friends. It's wonderful, actually. Especially out there, there's such a warm vibe out there, and it's just like basically having a dinner party for 800 of my dearest friends. It's a lovely thing. But there's really a hometown thing for me. There always has been. I mean, the first time I came back to play after having, a hit record in 92, I played the Morrison Center 2 nights in a row, and I couldn't believe how good it felt. It just feels so good to play this place. This is my home.
Well, what's that? I mean, that has got to be just such a surreal experience, right? I mean, here you are in the town that you grew up in. Yeah. And I mean, going back, playing with Gene Harris, but then coming back and you're on stage like the Morrison Center and now the Shakespeare Festival. And to know that everything that you were taught growing up in terms of music, you learned
right here. Absolutely. And that's why one of the reasons I'm really proud that there are so many Idaho musicians on this record, and even Idaho songwriters in the case of Bill Coffey and his song Old Fashioned, and it doesn't have to be now the James Cobley Smith song that I wrote with him. I like giving my love back to Idaho because Idaho has given me so much love and so much guidance, and I've learned so much from these guys who played on this record. I mean, when I sit in with these guys at their gigs here, I'll go and play saxophone, and I'm still learning. I'm going to be 60 in October, but I'm still a kid when it comes to music. I'm still hungry to know how to do that. What are you playing over there? Show me that. Show me how to do that. I like growing. I like getting better.
And I think too, to be able to showcase really the talent that we have here.
Well, and we have amazing talent.
That sometimes goes unnoticed, right? When they are local. So what has the feedback been when everybody finds out that almost every person on this album with you is from Idaho?
It's usually they immediately, they're like, oh, I've got a Shaky Dave Mannion story. Oh, yeah, I saw Bernie, blah, blah, blah. So, people people in this town really do support their local musicians. There are true gems here, and it's been nice to be able to say, yeah, everybody on the record is from here. I made it all here. I made it a mile from my house. People like that. There's a certain pride to that. It's a good town.
It is. We've got about 4 minutes left with you, so I would love for you to sing us one more song before we wrap things up for the day.
All right, great. Well, this is a song I wrote during the pandemic, and I wrote it. I was inspired by the latest novel by Anthony Doerr.
Right.
Our own, Boise's own, Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist. He won it for All the Light We Cannot See, but his latest novel it really moved me during the pandemic. It really knocked me out. And he asked me to play a song at a talk he gave at the Morrison Center during COVID, so there were hardly any people there. Most of us we all had masks on. But I wrote this song to sing at that event, and it's one of the proudest things I've ever done. Tony's a friend of mine. We have skied together. We ride bikes together. We even shopped at Albertsons together the other day. That was kind of fun.
See?
We were a cute little couple. But anyway, this is a song definitely inspired by the great novelist Tony Doerr. It's called "The Song." I hoped and I prayed for some wings to fly. I never looked back, no time for goodbye. I just spread them out wide and I took to the sky. And I flew where I didn't belong, all in search of the song. The thing about a fool is he won't give up. Leaps before he looks and he presses his luck. Won't run from danger, he just stirs it up. And his failures just make him strong. As he writes another line of the song. Song about family, song about war, song of redemption, God knows what for. Song about heaven's sweet Mother Earth. Why we're all here and what it's all worth. Now some days the words get the better of you, and that old muscle memory has got to carry you through. And sometimes the story's both fiction and true. It's not yours to judge right or wrong. 'Cause baby, you're a slave to the song. Song that brings comfort, heartache and joy. Song of creation, a song to destroy. Song about love, a song full of spite. A song you can sing through your soul's darkest night. Now, if you got a story, you better write it down. And maybe it'll be here when you're not around. But it's not for the glory, the fury, or the sound. It's all for the sake of the song. Yeah, it's all for the writing of the song. It's all for the love of the song. I hoped and I prayed for some wings to fly.
We have been speaking with Curtis Stigers about his new album, Songs from My Kitchen, Volume 1. Curtis, it has been such a pleasure. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Our senior producer is Samantha Wright. Our assistant producer is Hannah Gardosky. I'm Gemma Gaudette. Remember, Curtis will be playing in Boise June 23rd and September 22nd at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival. I'm Gemma Gaudette, and this is Idaho Matters.